Hi everyone, welcome to Chef Shelley's Kitchen. So it's fall where I'm at now, and of course I love having soups and hearty soups, and I came upon this recipe actually on Facebook. It was called the Busy Day Soup, and some of you may have seen it. So of course I had to try it. And I did, and it lacked a little luster for me, but I thought, you know what, this is the basics of a pretty good soup here. I just need to fix it a little bit. So I'm gonna share the soup with you today. And of course, I'm always trying to find healthier versions. The soup actually calls for ground beef. I'm using ground turkey, and it also calls for elbow macaroni. This is whole grain. So those are two really good swaps there. And then some additions. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to also add a little garlic. I'm going to saute my garlic just a little. And then I'm going to add my ground turkey to it. Now certainly if you were doing it, and the second thing here is I'm doing the crock pot. This Busy Day soup was actually something that was meant to be cooked just on top of the stove, but as you all know, I love crock pots, and so it's something, again, you could do it just on the stove if you wanted to do it fast. I feel like this is even better for a busy day. All right, so now that we've got the garlic pretty much looking good, I'm gonna go on and add the ground turkey to it. Put this here. I'm gonna let this start cooking, and then we'll turn our attention to adding the other ingredients into the crock pot. And if you haven't seen me cook something with ground turkey before, I have a little trick to help break up the meat, because that's like one of the biggest complaints that people have. All right, so got that going. Now, let's turn our attention over here to the crock pot. So to the crock pot, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add water. Again, this is a soup, so you need lots of water, and you need lots of water also because you're adding macaroni, and that is absolutely going to absorb. It's going to certainly absorb. Next, what I'd like for us to add is our mixed vegetables. You can just get a bag of frozen mixed vegetables. This is what it calls for in the recipe on Facebook. And then you need a 28 ounce can of diced tomatoes. So we're gonna add that. Now, the one thing that it did not call for that I actually found it really did need was some tomato paste. And it was just a little too watery for me, and I liked more of the creaminess. So you're going to add 1 can of tomato paste. And of course, as always, I will have all of the measurements for you in the comment section. But you're just gonna add that to it. And I'm gonna actually today, because I am looking to eat this sooner than later, if I had started this like first thing in the morning, I would have put it on low and cook it for about 6 to 8 hours. I'm looking at now more about 4 hours is what I'm looking at. Again, as I said, you can make this on the stove if you want. So everything that I'm doing, you could just put it in a pot. I just think that soups and seasonings and all those things come out so much better in the crock pot. And that's one of the reasons why I actually love leftovers. Some people don't particularly care for leftovers. I think leftovers are phenomenal because the seasoning now has had a chance to really kind of sit in. The other thing they call for is onion soup, and so we're gonna add that, and that really is meant to get all of your seasonings in there. But what I can tell you is that I needed a little bit more. So I'm actually going to add just about 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And I know you're saying, you're not measuring that. I know. It's about right. But for those of you that need measurements, just use 1/4 of a teaspoon. All right, let's go back over here to our ground turkey. Let's see how that's doing. We're gonna get this cooking. And this is gonna need a little bit more time. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this cook, and then we're gonna come back to it And then I'm going to show you one of my little tricks that I use in order to get this broken up so it's nice and ready. Okay, so let's let that cook and we'll come back. Okay, so our ground turkey is just about done. And the trick that I want you to use is a potato masher. So if you haven't seen previous episodes, some people don't like ground turkey because they say it's thick, it's clumpy, and it can be because it doesn't have a lot of the extra fat that you would normally see in ground beef or ground pork, something like that. So what I do is I just simply mash it, and it actually breaks it up for you. I usually let it, get to the place where it's almost done, and then I literally just go around and mash it. And when you do that, it breaks it up just nicely, so it's nice and fine, and it's good. So no other excuses for not using ground turkey. Again, this show is about healthier options, and the ground turkey is healthier for you than the pork. All right, so let's turn this off. And all we're gonna do now is we're gonna add this to our crock pot. Now you might be saying, Shelley, I think you forgot the macaroni. Well, no, I didn't. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the macaroni in at about the 2-hour mark. You can put it in now if you'd like, but what I found is that it really does cook through and through, and it can begin to break up. So I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is instead I'm going to stir it nicely, and it's looking good. And now I'm going to put it in its holder, and at the 2-hour mark I'm going to then add the macaroni and let it finish cooking. Okay, so let's let it start getting cooking. All right, we're back. So what I would recommend, I know at first I said to put your macaroni in at about the 2-hour mark, and I did, and it took a little longer than I had expected. So what I recommend now, put it in an hour after you start it, and then let it go. Again, if you're on 4 hours, it needs about a good hour or two to cook if you are doing it on the low, or 4 hours. But it looks so amazing, and I love the consistency. I'm going to put some of it in the bowl so you can see. And it doesn't have this wonderful kind of thick juiciness to it without the tomato paste. So if you don't cook it and add the tomato paste, it's just not going to be that creamy. That's why I added the tomato paste. And it is delicious. I'm going to have some more, but just wonderful, wonderful. And again, look in the comment section for all the specifics on quantities. But let's give it a taste. Very nice. I love this busy person soup. It's good with a few tweaks. Very good. This would go great with some cornbread and a side salad, and you're ready to go. I hope you enjoy this modification of the busy person soup. This is definitely better and certainly healthier with the ground turkey. Please join in every other week. I come out with a new video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, just click my picture and in the circle every other week, as I said, and I come out with recipes that are simple, delicious, and healthier, perhaps maybe otherwise. Thanks again. If you found this helpful, certainly share it on your social media sites. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.